Hi, welcome back to How to Draw a Cat Part 2, and this is on coloring. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks of coloring in FireAlpaca. First, you have to fill in all your base coloring. So, you see the little white dots around the edges? You don't want that. Instead, go to Expand and choose the number of expand by you want. And I usually do 2, and that is so you can get rid of those pixels. There are 2 ways that I normally shade. The first way is to pick out the colors and move the little thing down so like you have a little darker version of the original color, and then shade for the shading for that part, if that made any sense. But as you see in the video, that's what I'm doing right there. And then I do the same thing for the highlights. The brush I'm using is like my favorite brush ever, and I call it a candy brush because it was made by someone named Candy, and it's just the best thing ever, and I'll be sure to put it in the description. When it comes to highlights, I usually do something that really helps. I draw like a little sun or the source of light, like where the source of light would be coming from, and that's how I know where to put the highlights and the shadows. It helps a lot, especially since sometimes I forget where the light is coming from. The second way to shade is a lot easier, and I do that one a lot because I like colorful shading. Is you use black or white. You use black for like the shade, and then when you finish like shading everything, then you go to blending in the layer and hit overlay, and it does all the shading for you. Sometimes I like to do the little cell shading, and it makes it more poppy and colory. But usually don't do that if you don't want like poppy and color. And then you do the same for highlights, but instead of black, you use white. And I usually do the soft brush, that one I told you about before. And then sometimes it's a little too bright, like you saw there, and I just like lower the opacity a little bit. And then the last thing is the final touch that I always add, which is the highlights, the shiny highlights. I like making everything look really shiny. Usually for hair and fur, that's what's the most shiniest. And I just like to do that. You can do that still, but you don't have to do it as much as I do. I like the second one better than the first one. Looking back, I realized I hadn't finished coloring or adding all the base coloring in, so go ahead and do that if you haven't already. That was just a little mistake of me. I usually do the shading last, but it doesn't really matter when you do it. Here I was just playing around with the shading of the eyes. I found that I didn't like a lot of them, so I just changed them. It's good to play around with things, but if you know it doesn't look right, don't keep it, because it probably doesn't look right. Just go with the simple, if it's not working after a while. You can add some final little touches like I did, but there you go, you have your cat. But wait, what if you want to make it more unique? Well, I have a little trick for you to know. So what you have to do, well, first, go to the original base color layer. Make a layer over it and go to clipping in the settings. Then you choose a color and you can just draw on the cat and it won't show up outside lines or anything. So just go ahead and try that and just decorate your cat however you'd like. As you see here, I'm doing that to mine. Well, there you have it. Those are all the tricks I know on FireAlpaca. I hope you enjoyed. If you would like to show me the cat that you drew, you can tag it at #GuavaArtLessonsCat on Facebook and I'll check it out. Bye everyone, have fun drawing!